I actually went back to college and got my degree. Yeah. Only 46 years later. So if you got a kid on the 5-6 year plan, relax. Yeah, I just got tired of being the only person in our family didn't have a degree. And also because the first time I went to college, it did not go well. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It went great, just not for studies. Because see, you got to understand something. When I was a kid, I was a parent's dream. I didn't smoke, drink, I didn't cuss, I didn't bust my curfew. They loved me. I got to college, it was like, oh, this is a whole new ball game here. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. First semester, when I in 75, me and my dorm mate were sitting in our beanbag chairs, and he looked at me and he said, you know, in college, they don't take roll. I said, do what? He goes, yeah, they don't even care if you go to class. I go, well, me in college are going to get along just fine. Not realizing you don't go to class, you don't learn nothing. Y'all, my first semester grade point average was 0.76. That's lower than dumb. Oh, and then I discovered women and beer, and studies went right out the window. So I dropped out. Well, now fast forward, my son was getting ready to go off to college, and I thought, you know what? This would be a good learning experience for him. So I sent off for my transcripts. And they came, and one morning we was having breakfast before he left to go off to college. And I slid that transcript across the table. I said, take a look at that, son. He goes, good God, Dad, 0.76? I said, that's right. I said, that's what happens when you don't go to class. I said, your only job for the next 4 years is just to go to class. Because if you'll just sit there, something will sink in. Apparently I was wrong. Because he didn't do too well his first semester, but then he got it together. Well, now fast forward again, I'm getting ready to re-enroll in Grand Canyon University down in Arizona, and I was going to get a degree in Christian studies. And I had to retake a lot of classes because I'd done so poorly in them the first time. And one of them was a college math class. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. You may not believe this, but I graduated high school with no math at all. Yeah, I think it's illegal now. But here's what happened. In junior high, we had algebra. I loved algebra. I don't know why it sat with me so well, but I just really enjoyed it. Well, then we got to high school, and we had geometry. And I hated geometry because of one thing. Remember proofs? Yeah, where you had to get the answer, but then you had to show how you got the answer. And my thought was, no. I got the answer, give me the damn credit. What do you care how I got it? What am I going to write down? Looked over my buddy's shoulder? I look at it this way. If you're a plumber and I hire you to fix my broken toilet, I don't care what steps you take to fix it, just get it flushing again. That's the way I looked at geometry. And if someone had just asked me, what's the problem? I'd have said, look, I don't understand it. I don't like it. Instead, the great state of Texas Board of Education decided that I had a learning disability. My senior year, they put me in a remedial math class. Well, that was me and 6 other idiots sitting in a room with these gigantic headphones on, and this pre-recorded voice would go, 2 + 2 is... Four? You're smart. Well, hell, I aced that. Well, now I re-enroll in college, and I got to retake, they assume that you've had algebra 1, 2, and 3, and 4, geometry 1, 2, and 3, trigonometry, physics. I'd had none of that. So now I'm in a class that they're wanting me to do logarithms and Excel, and I thought, I'm not going to get my damn degree because I can't pass a math class. I thought, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll get Gail to help me. She got straight A's in college. My friends, it was at that point in my life that I realized my wife will never be a tutor. She does not have the patience for it. This would be a typical conversation between me and her. Baby, I don't understand how they got the answer to that math problem. She goes, well, how can I make it any easier? It's right there in front of you in black and white. And I go, I don't care if it's on pink paper with blue polka dots. I don't know how they got that answer. She goes, well, what do you want me to do? I go, tell me how they got the answer. She goes, well, then that'd be cheating and you haven't really learned anything because it's just me doing the math problem in it. So how do we deal with this? I said, here's how we deal with it. You're fired. And then I got a real tutor and he got me through it. But here was my question. I was getting a Christian studies major. Why does a Christian studies major even need a math class? Right? All I need to know is there was 12 apostles, 10 commandments. He spent 3 days in a grave. Boom, aced it. And I did the whole thing online for 2 reasons. 1, because I was still touring. But 2, I didn't want the other kids to know how old I was. But I think I might have blown that when I would ask questions like, what's TikTok? To me, it's the sound a clock makes. That's all I know. Well, so what would happen is the professor would email us a problem. We'd do the problem and then email it back to him. One night I got this problem. It said, can you solve for X? And I wrote back, maybe. If you can solve for Y. As in, why the hell do I need to know this mess? When I finally knew I was going to pass the class, I called the professor in his office. I said, I've been wanting to ask you something since I started this class. He said, what's that? And I said, well, my time on this planet's up. And I go to meet St. Peter. I said, is he going to give me a math problem to do? He said, probably not. And I said, so you're telling me then that this university has a stricter admissions policy than heaven does? He didn't find that too funny. But to show you what an idiot I am, while I was still enrolled in college, the college classes, one night Gail and I were lying in bed, and I rolled over to her and I said, well, I guess you can tell your friends that you're sleeping with a college boy now. She goes, you know what, that's gross. And that right there, my friends, is the difference between men and women. Because there's a lot of reasons why at my age I would not sleep with a college girl. But I can tell you for a fact that gross ain't one of them. And the best thing about taking classes as an adult, if you fail a test, your thought is, hell, I got a job. Tell you what I should have done. Should have taken a class in cell phones and technology. God. I am so far behind the 8 ball on this. I know now what my dad felt like when VCRs first came out. Would your parents do that? Just stare at it like, what's that blinking red light? That's the time. You have to set the time. I don't get it. That's me now. I'm telling you all the time. Like a buddy of mine called me. I was in this football pool, and he was the head of it, and he said, I'm going to Venmo you your money. I said, what? What the hell's Venmo? He goes, that's how I'm going to send you your money. I go, you might as well burn it because I have no idea how to get it. So I don't understand this stuff. The only technology that I really like, and it's amazing to me, is Uber. It's insane. It's magical. I could be anywhere in the world. I can call my wife. 10 minutes later, a car picks me up and takes me to where I want to go, and the guy doesn't ask me for money.